in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what they came and asked for, and they know that this is going to be the center of the universe from this point forward, inshallah ta'ala. And so they want to be constantly thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what do? They make a beautiful dua. It is a beautiful dua that is captured in the Quran. A beautiful dua that is captured in Surah Ibrahim itself. And what do they ask? رَبِّ اجْعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِي رَبَّنَا وَتَقَبَّلْ دُعَاءَ رَبَّنَا وَتَقَبَّلْ دُعَاءَ. Ibrahim alayhi salam says what? Oh my Rabb, oh my Rabb, my Rabb, my Lord. Direct connection with himself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says, make me amongst the people who pray. Make me amongst the people who pray, and my children as well, as well. Make me amongst the people who pray, me and my children. And then he adds another sentence and says, Rabbana wa taqabbal du'a. Oh Allah, accept our dua from us. Accept our dua from us. Just think about this. This is Ibrahim alayhi salam. We know Ibrahim alayhi salam, a great prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the greatest prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Known as the Ulul Azam, one of the 5 greatest prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a person who's basically saying that I am law. I am law. And the people who pray are much higher than that. And so he's saying, make me of those people who are amongst the people who pray. So this is the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make him the elevated status. He's already a prophet of Allah. He's an ummah into himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided him and his family as well. His wife, mashallah, tabarakallah, gave her Zamzam in the desert in the middle of nowhere. A water shooting up out of the desert. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a son and tested him with that same son. He could not have his son. He couldn't have his son at all. And years after years after years after years, and at an old age, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses him with that son, and then he tests him with that son. And he says to go and slaughter your son. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we know the story, this is when we celebrate the Eid, Eid al-Adha, the sacrificial Eid. And in that Eid, what do? We're sacrificing an animal in remembrance of this waqiyah, in remembrance of this lesson. And so, thinking about all these lessons, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finally gives him one of those things, a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where He allows him to erect the first Kaaba, the first house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be worshipped on this earth. All worship is going to be directed towards this. Everything. And the goal is to bring the ummah together. And when I say ummah, every ummah of believers, and every prophet had an ummah. And some prophets weren't able to have an ummah because they were killed before their time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to understand our deen. And then this became the sunnah of every prophet after him. Every prophet that came after him. So let's take the Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. We refer to him as Kalimullah. Can anybody tell me why do we refer to him as Kalimullah? Why is he Kalimullah? Because he spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because he spoke to Allah, so he's referred to as Kalimullah, or the one who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to directly on this planet, on this earth. And so when the Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was lost in the valley of Madian, he was wandering around with his wife. He's wandering around with his wife and they're lost in the dark. And all of a sudden he sees a fire on top of a mountain. He sees this fire on top of a mountain and he tells his wife to wait here. I'm just going to go on top of that mountain and grab that fire as a brand so he can see in the dark. And when he, lo and behold, when he gets there, when he gets to the top of the mountain, he sees that this is not a fire of man. This is the fire of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam directly. And this is why he's called Kalimullah. And what does he say to him? Inni ana Allah. La ilaha illa ana. Fa'budni wa aqim as-salata li dhikri. Indeed, I am Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am Allah. There's none worthy of worship except for me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directly speaking to Musa alayhi salam. And he says, worship me, fa'budni. Worship me and only me. Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the one message that every single prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has come with. This is why I told you today's khutbah that we indeed are not a new breed or a new religion. We are a religion of the continuation of all believers from the beginning of time, inshallah ta'ala, till the end of time. We are the believers in La ilaha illallah, the believers of Tawheed, the standards of Tawheed. So he says, fa'budni, and only him. And then what he says, he asks him, the first command after you come into La ilaha illallah, the first command, salah. Aqim salah. Aqim salah. In my remembrance. Make salah in my remembrance. Make salah in my remembrance. Constantly make salah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the reminder of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every single second of the day, the salah is our entire mission. Entire mission is salah, because this is the direct connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first meeting, the first rules are laid out, right? Worship Him and remember Him through the salah. Remember Him through the salah. If this isn't enough, the Prophet Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, everybody knows the story about baby Jesus. His mother Maryam was known in Jerusalem, and we know it from the Quran as well, to be known as an extremely pious woman, and from a very pious and righteous family. And she's an heir of Allah, just testing her. And not just testing her, but testing the ummah as well around her. What happens? She comes back, and as we know, he comes back with a child. And what do they say? Oh Maryam, what have you done? What have you done? What kind of a person are you? How could you do this? How could you do this? You're a righteous person, you're a righteous family, the people that you are associated with, these are the best of the people. You were not known for any evil. We knew about your ibadah. Not even your parents. How could you do this? How on earth can you do this? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told her, another test. You're not allowed to speak. You have to stay quiet. She couldn't say a word. She couldn't even defend herself. She's not allowed to defend herself. And what was she able to do? She was only able to point at the baby. Baby Isa, baby Jesus. Pointing at him. And she points at him and says, and she's just waving. That's all you see, just waving. There's nothing she can do. She can't say a word. She's not allowed to say a word. And she obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The obedience of these people before us. And what happens then? A miracle. Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, a few days old. A few days old. And he starts to say full, complete sentences. 10 complete sentences. قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا. SubhanAllah. Little baby reciting full, complete sentences. Even if we saw this today, it would be an entire miracle. Can you imagine? I just want to point out this one miracle of little baby Jesus. How many people have gone astray from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this one miracle? This one miracle has taken a third of the population of the planet away from us. Away from Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because they aren't able to understand the powers of Allah. Because they aren't able to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do kun fayakun. Kun fayakun. Say, and it is. This is the power of Allah. And when you don't realize the power of Allah, this miracle is far from understanding. Far from understanding. And you only hear, if you ever talk to people from other religions, they say, religion is supposed to be something that's a miracle. And it's supposed to be mysterious. And even within our own sect, in our own faith, in Islam, you have some sects that say, like, but it's a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? They try to make it something that nobody can explain it, that way they're right. But that's not the way it works. So baby Isa alayhi salatu wassalam, what does he say in his mother's arms? I am a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inni Abdullah. Atani al-kitab. I've been granted the wisdom in the book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted me wisdom, has granted me the book. And what has he ordered? And he has made me a prophet. And he's made me blessed wherever I am. Wherever I am. And so it's already a precursor. Because Isa alayhi salam, we know is inshallah ta'ala, will one day come back. And so wherever he is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already blessed him. So we have the answer. Wherever he is, Allah has protected him. Allah has blessed him. And he has commanded that I pray and that I give zakat as long as I live. As long as I live, I give zakat. As long as I live, I pray. Right here, the truth. Do we see our brethren from the Christian faith pray? And if they pray, how do they pray? They've changed their salah, they've changed they call it mass, they've changed everything about it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted these prophets that I just told you about the salah. So now, what about our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? We know that the story of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is extremely unique in this matter, in this regard. Every action, everything about either Hajj or Ramadan or fasting has come through Jibreel alayhi salam coming down and revealing the verse to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is one of those events where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam to himself. And who knows what this waqi is called? What is this thing called? Isra' wal Mi'raj. Isra' wal Mi'raj. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls him to the heavens with Jibreel alayhi salam through the night journey. And he was going to give a personal gift. A personal gift of Islam. This is the beauty of our religion. This is the beauty of the salah. When you understand where it came from and what it means and what this connection is, your entire outlook changes about salah itself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from Mecca, from his house, took him at night and took him all the way to the skies. Above the skies. People always confuse the earth and the heavens as being the skies, but the skies, above the skies and above the heavens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites him to himself. And even when Jibreel alayhi salam brings him to the first level of Jannah, where we know Azam alayhi salam was there, salam, and he kept on rising up the ranks of the Jannah through the heavens. And in the sixth heaven, we know that he meets different prophets, Jibreel alayhi salam, and Isa alayhi salatu wassalam, and others, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and finally Musa alayhi salam in the sixth heaven. And then he goes to a place where even Jibreel alayhi salam cannot go in. Jibreel alayhi salam says that this is where I am. Even I'm not allowed to pass this hudud, this boundary. This is the boundary that I have to stop. So when he stops at this boundary, Jibreel alayhi salam is stopped here. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is directed towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala behind a curtain of light, behind a veil of light, light upon light, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directs the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam directly. He is pleased with him and he takes it and he descends to the sixth level. Musa alayhi salam, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him. Sixth level, Musa alayhi salam, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him. He tells him that your ummah cannot handle this. Your ummah cannot handle 50 salah. Go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and request him to lower the count. And so he goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and it's reduced by a portion. And he comes back. Musa alayhi salam still says, this is too much for your ummah. Your ummah cannot handle it. Go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have it reduced a little more. He goes back and it's reduced. He comes back. Constant ups and downs, visits back and forth by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Musa alayhi salam. Finally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says 5 salah for you, but the reward is equivalent to the 50. And then even then Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, this is even too much for your ummah. Was Musa alayhi salam right or correct or not? It was correct, right? 5 salah was very heavy on us today even. But our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was, he was pleased. And he felt that inshallah the ummah can handle at least 5 salah. Think about it. If you take 24 hours a day and divide it into 5, about 5 hours, right? A little less than 5 hours a day. So every 5 hours or so, that's the average. I'm not saying you have to pray every 5 hours, but the average is a few. But then the salah, we prayed Maghrib. And I think we started around 5:10 or so. In 10 minutes we were done with Maghrib. 10 minutes or so, we were done with Maghrib. Now if we took every salah, 5 salah, 45 minutes, 50 minutes all day, salah, it doesn't count for that much in time-wise. But the weight of it is hard. It's extremely heavy on the scales of Jannah, the scales of Yawm al-Qiyamah, and the scales of a person when he's weighed with the salah. With the salah. So Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala blesses Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his ummah with 50 salah. So I have a question. If Allah already knows it's 50 salah, and then it's going to be reduced to 5, why go through the exercise? Why go through the exercise? And the scholars of Islam, they have a reason for it. They say that this is for us to see that if it was 50 salah for us, just imagine, it went from 50 down to 5. The scholars of Islam say that if we had to pray 50 salah, can you imagine how often you would have to pray? Every 15, 20 minutes, stop, and then as soon as you're time to go pray again. Well, it's just a constant. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you pray those 5 times a day, it's as if you paid every 15 or 20 minutes or half an hour, every half hour. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us. Think about every single religion that you can think of. Christian, Judaism, and all the other ones that man have created. No one has this gift of salah. And subhanAllah, when you take the salah, either when you pray in the United States, or you pray in Arabia, or you pray in China, or you pray in Europe, you pray in Australia, doesn't matter what continent you go to, you go and you see the masjid, the adhan is the same. The salah is the same. I'm talking about the major factors of the salah, the same. All the sunnah matters that we agree, disagree about, those, inshallah, the more educated you are, you understand why we do certain things and why we don't do other things. But you think about how the salah has been made a part of our ummah. The people, everybody in every city, every town, you're going to see that a few brothers that are always there for Fajr. Always there, few brothers. And these are the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses in those communities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses these people in the community to be able to pray inside the masjid together in jama'ah. What is the reward of praying inside of the masjid in jama'ah? 27 or 25 based on whatever hadith. There's 2 different hadith and 2 different opinions, but more than 25 times. SubhanAllah. So the Sahaba, if they were to miss the salah, what would they do? They would punish themselves. They would say that they want to catch the jama'ah. They would make that 25 or 27 times just to remind themselves of the ajr that they're losing. Forget that reward that we're looking for the 27 times the regular salah. For us today, I don't know why, many of our brothers and sisters too, they're so lazy when it comes to salah. When it comes to salah, it doesn't matter. Have you ever met a brother who's fidgety, who's looking at his time every 5 seconds, he's looking at the clock, and his legs are shaking, and he's shaking, and he's waiting. 5 minutes away, 5 minutes away, 5 minutes away. 5 minutes away for the salah. And you're like, wow, subhanAllah, the awareness of this person. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless this with this awareness. Every 5 seconds he's worried, where's my salah, where's my salah? I remember this person walking down the street, and he's like, it's time for my salah. SubhanAllah, he rips out this little thing, he folded all this thing. Very simple thing, put it in his pocket, it's like a little handkerchief. Takes it out, puts it on the ground, starts praying right in the middle of the salah. This is Islam. This is true heart with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the connectedness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Dhariyat says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I haven't created man and jinn except to worship. Except worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the person who keeps up with his 5 salah a day, he has worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the entire day. He has worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the entire day. This is the meaning of 50 salah is equal to 5 salah, as if you're praying all day in constant reminder of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's important that we understand the meaning of salah coming down from 50 down to the 5 of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, if you look through the Quran, how many places in the Quran does it say sallu? Sallu. How many places in the Quran does it say sallu? To pray.
80.
Understand the question. How many places does it say to sallu? Pray. 0. Zero. It doesn't say anywhere to salah. It says iqamas. Aqim salah. What is the difference? The difference between is just to pray. Allah didn't say just pray. Allah said establish the prayer. Establish the prayer. Make the prayer a priority. So what does this mean? This has to be in your plan. This has to be in your plan. This has to be when you're going to work, or you're going to school, or you're going for a trip, or you're going for travel. You have to start making that intention. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making sure that this is in your body, it's entrenched in you. Aqim as-salah is the word. Yes.
I think that there's difference between Salli, the prayer, and Aqim as-salah. Aqim as-salah means you all establish of the prayer.
Correct.
You're making a wudu. After that, you pray. I mean, you go to Saudi Arabia, your Qibla. After that, you make the prayer. But if you say make the prayer, it's all everything. You don't pray somewhere else.
Exactly. That's the main difference.
It's so far.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talks about aqim as-salah, it's everything combined. The timing of the prayer coming in. Making wudu, as the brother said. You make wudu, you make the intention, you make the qibla, you're looking for the qibla. Can you just pray in any direction? No, you have to pray in the... What if we wanted to go here before the qibla was changed to the Kaaba? Can we do that? Can we start praying back to Bayt al-Maqdis? The Prophet ﷺ used to do it before. Can we start doing it? No, it's mansukh, abrogated. The abrogation is that we don't pray towards it. Can you go and visit that masjid? Of course. This is one of the 3 masajid that the Prophet ﷺ recommended that we visit. But when you establish the prayer, there's a deeper meaning. That deeper meaning is to establishing. It means to basically everything is gone. And you say Allah, but everything else in the world does not make a difference. Now it's time for salah. There's an internal connection between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the covenant, that the contract that I have with the Muslims is the prayer. And then he says, فَمَنْ تَرَكَ فَقَدْ كَفَرَ. Whoever leaves it has committed kufr. The prayer is our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is our connection with belief, it's our connection with Islam. Whoever leaves the prayer has committed kufr. And I'm talking about when they say leave the prayer, absolutely denying the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's absolutely saying, I don't need to pray. Once they say, I don't need to pray, you know that they are outside of the fold of Islam. Now I want to, everybody's starting to think of every single other person that has said that to them. Now this is not what the intention of this is. The intention of this is so ask yourself, where do you stand? Ask yourself on a daily basis after every salah, where do you stand? If you are constantly worried about the prayer and making the prayer, inshallah, you're under the protection of Allah. You're under the shade of Allah. But if you're one of those people that is reluctant, meaning lazy with the prayer, sometimes pray, sometimes you don't, then you have to be on guard yourself. You have to be on guard for yourself. So this is a reminder for yourself, and it's not to point fingers. So this person and that person and that person and your brother and your sister, your wife, or whoever. It's to encourage them to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly, and remember that. This is our treaty with our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he said that if we're going to be part of the ummah, that we are the people who constantly pray. The scholars of Islam, they say about the prayer having a deep connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now I have a question for you. Did Iblis see Allah? Iblis saw Allah, no? Iblis never saw Allah? No?
Never.
He never saw Allah?
No.
Okay.
No one saw Allah.
Okay. Did he ever deny Allah?
Yes.
Did he deny Allah?
Yeah.
No,
He
he,
did once.
hold on.
He didn't deny.
Did he deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Directly, did he,
No, he didn't.
does he deny Allah's existence?
No.
He knows that Allah exists,
Yeah.
right? He knows that Jannah exists. He knows that the hellfire exists. He knows all of this exists. Yet, what did he fail to do? One sajda. He was asked to do what? To prostrate, to make one sajda. Before whom? The angels. With the angels, he was with the angels. And he was asked to make one sajda. He denied one sajda. One sajda. But yet, he believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know why? Because he made dua to Allah. What did he say? قال ربي أنظرني يوم يبعثون. قال ربي أنظرني إلى يوم يبعثون. Oh Rabb, allow me to live until that day of judgment. Why? Because he wants to lead all the people astray. So he believes in Allah. He knows that Allah is right. He knows that Allah exists. He knows Allah has the power. Yet he still refused to bow down on the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the reasons the scholars of Islam have stated that when we pray, and when we make sujood, we make two sujood. We make two sujood. There's no hadith about this, but this is the scholars of Islam saying this is one of the reasons why we make two sujood in our salah. Two sujood in salah because he refused to make one. What happens to Iblis every time he makes sujood? He's angry. He's upset. He's crying. He's upset. He wants to take every single person. And then he said that he's going to take every single person from Adam alayhi salam and lead him astray. Every single person from where? From the right, from the left, from the front, from the back. Every single person is going to try to lead them astray, to take them away. Do you think he's being successful? No? I think he's pretty successful. More than 70% of the earth's surface is non-Muslims. He's very successful. Very high success rate.
But not all of them.
Not all of them. I'm saying
He's not successful.
no, he's very successful in leading them astray.
But I'm saying what I meant is, since he didn't get them all, he's still not successful.
Of course, no. Listen, inshallah ta'ala, he's not going to get them all because if he gets them all, then we're in trouble. So remember, even the Prophet ﷺ's followers, there were very few. And in Islam in general right now, how many do you think we are in the world? Let's say we're 2 billion. There's more than 7 billion people in the world right now. Do the math, 2 of 7. Very small percentage of the world. It's under half, way under half. A third maybe, not even. This is a very small percentage. And then can you say that the Muslims that are in Islam, that the ones that are born Muslim, because they had Muslim parents, because they followed their father or their mother, and then once they get into the free world, they go in their different ways. Are these Muslim brothers and sisters all on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do they all remember the salah? Do they all remember Allah? No. No. This is what I was telling you about today in the khutbah. The khutbah today was, you have money. You have a good situation here. Security. But is your deen secure? Is your salah secure? If your salah is not secure, what are you going to do with all that money? What are you going to do with your properties and your cars and your wives and everything else that you have? If the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something that is rejected and it's not followed by our people, our brothers and sisters, by ourselves. This is what we're lacking out of Islam. So we have to constantly remind. Yes, brother.
الله سبحانه وتعالى قال بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم المال والبنون زينة الحياة الدنيا
المال والبنون زينة الحياة الدنيا. The wealth and the children, they're the adornments of this life. The adornments, these are the things that people are always running after. We always want wealth, we want to have a lot of children. We want to have a lot of children because when you have more children, what does that do? More wealth comes your way. Because they all work and they're all going to have, and you, mashallah, the family starts to expand and you start to take up properties and you're talking business and you're expanding. This is the reason why this is an adornment, but this is also a fitna, also a trial. So, what do you think is the status of a Muslim who says, I don't have time to pray? I'm busy with my classes, my studies, my exams. I'm busy with my labs. I'm busy with my work. I'm busy with my, travel. Or I'm busy with whatever else excuse that they can come up with. What do you think is the status of that? So, the Muslims, they ask the people of Jannah ask the people of Jahannam. This is in Surah Al-Dathir. What has caused you to enter the fire of hell? What is the answer? What is the answer? The first thing that the people of the hellfire say, we didn't used to pray. We did not pray. We didn't pray. So if your salah is not in order, then you have problems. But if your salah, inshallah ta'ala, is in order, then everything else will be in order, inshallah. Everything else will be in order. So today I ask you, Ya Ikhwan, for yourselves and for your brothers and for your sisters that do not pray on a regular basis, what is their excuse? Work, time, effort, money, stress, sickness. What is the issue? What is the excuse? We make time for everything. We make time for studies. We make time for vacations now. We make time for traveling. We make time for watching television. We make time to reading the news. We make time to text and go onto WhatsApp and Facebook and all of these social medias. And we have time for games. We play games on our phones. We do all of these things. We make time for everything. Everything. But yet salah, when it comes to salah, it's one of those question marks. Why can't we make time? Why can't we make time? Why can't we make time? Why can't we create time for the very purpose of our creation? For the very, ultimate reason of our existence? Have you ever thought about this? Like, how come when you talk about Muslim brothers and sisters, how many people have seen a big sheikh and his children are going away, straying far away? How many people have seen this? Many times you see this with the sheikh of the masjid. He's so busy with the people and helping the people and taking care of the people, his own children, sometimes he forgets about his own children and they walk away. It doesn't happen often. But if you neglect, even your own children, if you neglect, they're going to walk away. They're going to go and they're going to do other things. How about some of the other excuses? Have you ever heard excuses where somebody says, I'm a bad person. I do this and I do that and I do the other. I'm a real bad person. And I need to first clean up my act and stop sinning and stop doing the ma'asiyah. And then inshallah ta'ala, then I will come back and I will start praying. But that's the wrong thinking. This is being deceived by the shaitan. If you're a person who is not doing good, who is constantly going the wrong way, making these decisions that are faulty, that are not proper for you and for your family, then you're the person who should be praying the most. This is the person who needs that reminder, who just needs a kick in the pants, in the English colloquial, right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Kabut says, the prayer prohibits you from what? Vulgarities, obscenities, and all these other sins. So when you pray, and I'm talking about praying, and we don't have, I'll just talk a little bit louder. We don't have time, or we don't have this, or we don't have that. My beard is still long, maybe. So the prayer is what protects you. But you have to have khushu' in your salah too. Meaning, have you ever seen a person who prays and it's like 10 seconds and he's done and he's running out of the masjid? This is not something either. When you pray with all of your mind and all of your soul and all of your heart. You try to pray to the fullest of your ability. So in order to leave these evil acts, you need to establish that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you do this through the actual establishment of the prayers we've discussed before. So it comes right after La ilaha illallah. And the first command after La ilaha illallah, even when the Prophet ﷺ said Mu'adh bin Jabal radiallahu ta'ala to the community, it was said to him that once you get them into Islam, when they say La ilaha illallah, the first thing that they're commanded to do is the prayer. The prayer. So much so, do you know that the munafiqun, the hypocrites at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they had disease in their heart. They were saying outwardly that they were Muslims. Inward in their hearts, they knew that they were not Muslims and they were here for sabotage. Remember I told you today that there is no way for one person to see in another person's heart. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose the hypocrites. So these hypocrites, what do you think they did? They prayed 5 times a day, every single day. Every single day. The hypocrites, the hypocrites prayed at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposed the hypocrites, but they were trying to blend in every single way they can. Every single way they can. So they blended in. So if you think about these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about them. When they stand up for their salah, they stand with laziness. So they can be seen by men, but they really don't remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even the hypocrites used to pray during the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So time is short of Islam. If the hypocrites can do it, then how about us? So what if you say that inshallah tomorrow I will change? But can you guarantee that tomorrow will come? No person can guarantee that tomorrow will come. Everybody always says, you know what, inshallah next Ramadan I'll change. Ramadan is only 2.5 months away, inshallah. I'll change at that time. Does that work? You need to start now. That change has to come from you. That want, that desire. If I told you that you need to come up with this much money, and I'm going to give you a house. So let's say if I told you, for $100,000, you can buy a nice house. In New York City, $100,000, let me know. Everybody's going to stand, and everybody's going to be like, I'm going to come up with that $100,000 because there's a mission. Now you have a mission, and you have told yourself that this is something that I want to accomplish. But now if I were to tell you, you want Jannah, Jannah is in your hands. All you have to do is pray. Simple. And if you don't know how to pray, come to the Masjid al-Shaykh. We'll teach you how to pray, inshallah. And what is stopping you then? What is stopping you then? So we have this effect in our mind. Psychologically, we place a barrier in our minds that, inshallah, one day, Allah will just do something to me. Inshallah, the light will just click one day and everything will happen. You need that want, that desire has to be in your heart to change. You want to change, and you try to change with your hands. So it has to start with the heart. Go into your tongue and your limbs. It has to come with everything within you. And if that's it, only that and only then is when you have a chance to start changing. So as Surah Ibrahim, رَبِّ اجْعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي. Make me and my children amongst the people who pray. Make me amongst those people who establish this prayer. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be able to be the ones that pray. From now on. And this is how you have to do it. If you know our brothers and sisters who are doing this, you establish the prayer. So one of the things we want to make practical examples as well. The practical examples here, very simple. If you're at work, you come up with a way. You come up with a room. You come up wherever. I'm pretty sure every single person here has to go and eat lunch. With lunch, you have to go and establish a prayer. Whether if you can't leave your office, there has to be some place where you can take 5 or 10 minutes for yourself and pray. You have to establish this. And sometimes it's very difficult to do it if you're trying to do it by yourself. But if you have other brothers in the office, if you have other brothers in school, and I see some young guys here, they're in school still, it's very simple. Say this is something that I want to do. But when you have another person with you, it makes it stronger. There's a team. There's this concept of ummah. There's this concept of friendship. There's this concept of brotherhood that takes you in very deep places, very far places. So you have to try to establish this prayer at work. One of the brothers was telling me that a lot of brothers, they basically wait for all the prayers to combine, and then at the end of the day, when they come, let's say they come back home after Isha prayer, they're praying Dhuhr, and they're praying Asr, and they're praying Maghrib, and they're praying Isha together. This is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows. Even if you want to combine during the times of travel, the prayers can be combined for Dhuhr and Asr, and then Maghrib and Isha. So Dhuhr and Asr during the time of Dhuhr and Asr. And Maghrib and Isha at the time of Maghrib and Isha. That's the time when you can combine the prayers. And there has to be a reason for it. Usually the number one reason for shortening and combining the prayers is travel. But weather can be an issue. There's other reasons why we can combine the salawat. But for just because you're going to work, and because you work in New York City, and maybe it takes you an hour and a half to go both ways, 3 hours of travel back and forth, this is not an excuse. If this is an excuse and you want to use a travel excuse, then at those times you can combine. But before and after, if you establish the prayer, if you have the prayer, some people don't have a masajid near them. But what do you do for Jama'ah prayer? Do you skip Jama'ah too? For those people who work, and because, they don't give me my lunch break till 2 o'clock. So all the Jama'ah prayers are either at 12:30 or 1:30, so I'm not going to pick Jama'ah. What happens to a person who skips 3 Jama'ahs in a row?
Hard still.
Say it again?
Hard
sealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Aren't sealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aren't sealed. So think about it. When you stay away from Allah, when you're going away from the deen of Allah, it becomes difficult. You know, one of the great imams, he used to be in this area. He has recently moved away from New York, and he used to say one thing to me. And every time I talk to him, he said, you know the people who come just for the Jummah prayer? Just for the Jummah prayer, and they don't pray before and after the Jummah prayer, they don't pray the whole week. The only time they pray is the Jummah prayer. He said to me one thing. He said, don't ever criticize a person for doing any good. Don't criticize a person for doing any good. Why? He says, I was one of those people who just pray the Jummah. And once in a while I pray the other Salah. I knew I should pray. And I knew I was being deceived by Shaitan. And I knew I should have been doing this. But he goes, I kept on coming to the masjid and Jummah prayer. And every time I would come, something would click. And I knew that I had to make that step. And he said, I started taking steps from coming Jummah prayer. Before you know it, some of the brothers started gathering these brothers together. And now, mashallah, tabarakallah, he teaches students, teaches people everywhere. This, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses someone, He blesses them with the religion. He blesses them with the understanding of the deen. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something good for you, there's more, you see more blessings in your deen, more blessings in your religion. And so salah is the major thing that we need to focus on at all instances, because we don't know what's going to happen to us. I wanted to go to one event, so I'm going to stop here for a second and ask any questions. Any questions here about the salah, about the timing, how to establish it at work, how to continue with the salah? Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Uh, lot of brother, they actually they driving taxi or something like this, and then they make the salah every day. They excuse the, we are not getting the parking or something like this. But alhamdulillah, I saw a lot of brother, they rather than they park the car and then they make the salah. But some brother they make excuse. We are not fine, but they make the salah on time. But they make an excuse, okay, there is no parking in the, Manhattan or Brooklyn or whatever, then we make the salah. Is this okay for that brother, their excuse is okay?
So the question is about the person who's driving around Manhattan, Brooklyn, and basically they may not be able to find parking. Is it okay for them to skip the salah or combine the salah? Delay the salah. All right, let's talk about delay the salah. Everybody knows the answer. Is it okay to delay your salah because you can't find parking?
I would combine.
Let's first talk about delay and then inshallah we'll get to combine. So, how many of you are familiar with phones? Everybody have a smartphone? Anybody have a dumb phone still? Well, then at that point in time you combine. Because you weren't prepared for it. You weren't thinking there was going to be a short trip. And Allah is testing you now. But what are you going to do? Take the passenger and kick them out? You can do that. You can cancel the trip when you find out, that this is going to be an extreme long trip. But it's a decision. It's at that time, I try to make it easy for the people. If you are the person who's an extremely strict person that says, no, everything needs to be canceled at that time. Because remember, you still have 1 hour left. Now there's 5 minutes left in the salah time. At that point, you need to stop the car, you need to park the car, find parking wherever, and make the salah. Wa alaikum salam.
Still I have
Yes, sir.